Alright, boys, I just want you to picture this for a second, alright? You're a regular dude, right? You have a decent job, you've got a place to live, you've got food in the fridge, maybe you even have a bed to sleep on and a bed frame. How lucky are you? And maybe you even have a great group of people around you. Maybe you have someone in your life that you hold a good connection with when it comes to your dating life and your relationship. But for some reason, you still feel empty. It's not like you feel depressed in a dramatic way. You're not in a crisis, but it's like something just feels off, you know? It's almost like something is missing within your mind, but you just can't quite put your finger on what exactly it is. A lot of men feel this way and don't necessarily talk about it just because our lives kind of look fine on paper, you know? So they assume that we should just be kind of grateful and just shut the hell up. But a lot of men today feel this emptiness, and a lot of the times, emptiness just kind of shows up when nothing is like super obviously wrong. Like, why is it that I don't feel so fulfilled in this life? Why is it that that piece of me that I want, but I can't quite determine what it is just not there and it's missing? It's almost like we've put together a puzzle and the piece right in the middle is just gone. We can't find it and we can't figure out where it went. And it's almost like even if we did found it, we didn't know if it would fit in there because it's a completely different color piece. So today, I just want to kind of break down, why does this happen? Why do we have things going right in our life, but we still feel empty? And then what are some things that we can do about it? And I just kind of want to start with going over real quick, like, why does this feel so confusing to us? Like, we've lived our life the way that we're supposed to. Maybe even we do have a sense of happiness within us, but still that emptiness just lingers over our heads. And it's that weight that we carry on our shoulders of feeling like we're not doing enough or something is not there. You know what I mean? And honestly, it's just because, like, there's no clear villain. Like, you're clearly not broke. Maybe we're living paycheck to paycheck, but we're not dirt broke to where we can't afford a single thing. We can't afford to keep that roof over our heads. We're not in any immediate danger. We have a good group of people around us in our lives, like good friends, maybe a good girlfriend. And it's like when all these things are going right, no one is going to look at your life and say that you're failing in any way, shape, or form. Like on the surface, people are going to see Iron Man and they're going to see him as the billionaire playboy philanthropist, right? But no one sees the emptiness that he feels on the inside because he has this hole to fill for trying to protect the world when it comes to the storyline of the Avengers. And when it comes to like regular dudes like us, we start kind of feeling the wrong things and start thinking the wrong things. Like, I should be happier than this. Maybe I'm just very ungrateful. What is wrong with me? And unfortunately, that guilt is just going to make it a lot worse because now you feel empty and you feel like you don't have the right to feel empty. And honestly, the truth for what we can do about it is very simple because our lives can be stable and still lack a lot of meaning, direction, or just depth in general. So now we're going to get into some of the reasons why men feel empty when life does kind of just look fine, you know? For starters, a lot of men, they are in a position where they feel comfortable, but they're not necessarily building anything. The average man is not suffering. They're not in the worst position possible in life. They're probably just like an average dude, average job, average apartment. Everything is average. But because of all of this, I don't want to necessarily say mediocrity, but because of all this averageness, they're just drifting. They don't necessarily have a real mission in life. They don't have hard goals that they're aiming for. They don't really necessarily have a sense of becoming anybody. Think about the dude that's every single night coming home from his work and just playing video games for 6 hours straight, going straight to bed after gooning on the toilet for 30 minutes, I don't know. Like, that puts us in a position where we just feel comfortable, and comfort is killer, because if we're staying stuck and we're not necessarily pushing ourselves forward, there is zero possibility for us to be growing. So when there's no climb that you're trying to make, that's when life starts to feel flat. And this leads into a lot of the bad habits that a lot of men are doing, and not necessarily because they're all bad. Some of them are pretty bad, but it's just the constant stimulation that we're getting because we're feeling numb instead of peaceful. Like, think about your life right now, and I want you to count how many times every single day you're doing these things, between going home and doom scrolling, playing video games for excessive amounts of time, watching porn, eating junk food. Like, these are the things that are giving us those fake dopamine hits that aren't necessarily serving us a lot of benefit. Like I said, there's some things that are bad. Obviously, this is a gaming channel. I believe that gaming is okay. I do think that there's limitations you should be setting on yourself. But for some of these other things, like when you're not taking care of your body and you're giving yourself these quick dopamine hits through watching things like porn, it helps fill your life in terms of keeping it occupied, but these are the activities that aren't making us necessarily feel fulfilled. And like these things aren't necessarily causing you any physical pain, but are you really feeling anything else at all because you're doing these things? And I feel like a lot of these activities also just generally link into how a lot of men today structure their own lives. Like, what does the average day look like for you right now? Let's say you start work at 9 a.m., but you wake up at 8. You have a 30-minute drive. You barely give yourself any time in the morning to get ready. Quickly shower. Maybe you grab a banana or granola bar. Head out the door. Drive to work. Get there at 9 o'clock instead of a couple of minutes early or something like that. You slave away your day at work, kind of just drifting, hoping you're somewhere else. You get off at 5. You immediately come home. There's dishes in the sink, but you don't do them. You order DoorDash. You throw on Netflix while you eat, and then you spend your hours of like 6:30 to 11 o'clock just constantly gaming. And in between, you're doing those other things like gooning on the toilet or doom scrolling on your phone. And maybe you wrap up your night by actually taking a little bit of responsibility and paying a couple of bills, you know? Like, think about it for a second. These are the things that give your life structure in a way where you have a routine that you're following, but none of these routines give your life any purpose. These are the things that are going to be able to keep you functioning without giving you a reason to be just like proud of the days that you're fulfilling and the days that you're having. And whether it's because of these routines or just because of the feelings that we're giving ourselves with trying to be numb and not necessarily being fulfilled, we're always disconnected from the people that we actually know. Like, yeah, you probably have a solid group of friends that you go see every once in a while, maybe once or twice a week, who knows? You can still be around people and still feel unseen. It's like when you go hang out with them, you're just having like super surface level conversations. Maybe the friendships themselves are super weak. Like these aren't people that you should be keeping in your life. And it's like there's no sense of brotherhood between those friends. It's like, yeah, you have people around you, but do you have the right people around you? It's like feeling lonely doesn't always look like being alone, you know? Loneliness can come from having the things that the average dude would want and knowing that they're not the right things for you. And maybe that leads us into a point where we've outgrown our current life or the past life that we had, and we're not working on building the next one. I still talk to all of my friends that I had from back in the day, and some of them I'm still really close with, and I'm super thankful for that. I'm not leaving them behind per se, because these are good people for me. But a lot of men find themselves in a position where they have friends from back in the day that are dragging them down, or they used to be involved in certain activities, whether, you know, going out and partying all the time, hitting the bars. Like, you kind of grow out of those things when you get older. I'm 27 now, and I probably go out to a bar like once every 3 months, bro. And I don't even go out to get drunk. I have like a couple of beers, and then it's like 11:30, and I'm like, I'm tapped out. I'm trying to go to bed, bro. But regardless, it's like sometimes emptiness is a signal that the old version of yourself or the old version of your life was just too small. It's like the job that you have, the habits that you pursued, and the identity that you used to have, it's no longer enough. But yet we still dwell on the past and we don't do anything about it because maybe we don't want to lose those connections, or we remember all the fun times that we had when we were ripping bongs in the car, hotboxing the Saturn, you know, going out and hitting the town 2 to 3 times a week. Yet even though we dwell on those times, a lot of the time we don't end up doing like new, healthier activities because we're just so focused on trying to do the right thing today, like just going to work and coming home, instead of trying to pursue that side business on the side or go to the gym or pursue some sort of martial art and learn a skill. You know what I mean? When we've had a life that we've lived and we've just tended to outgrow it, and the life that we had before doesn't suit us anymore, we start feeling that feeling of being empty, because it's like we continue to think about those things that we used to be involved in that we're not doing anymore. So it's almost like, oh, what happened to who I used to be? The truth is, you're probably just becoming a better version of yourself. You just haven't started the actual habits that you need to do in order to be that better person yet. Keeping the right friends around, pursuing the right activities, doing the right things within your career or your side hustle opportunities. With all that being said, because we're stuck in this position, you're just living below your capacity of what you're capable of. Like, men feel off when they know that they could be more. They could be stronger in terms of physicality or mentally. They could be more disciplined. They could go to the gym 6 days a week, but they don't. They could have a better diet, but they continue to eat Cheetos every fucking day. They could be pursuing that career that's going to be better for them, but they choose not to anyways. They know that they could be more useful, but they're not as ambitious as they once were. Or maybe they aren't ambitious at all, and they're not acting like they have any ambition whatsoever. It's like when we as men have that unused potential, it creates a kind of quiet mindset within ourselves where we kind of lack self-respect. And who knows if the unused potential is because we're just sitting around and waiting to feel ready before you change anything, which is one of the biggest things that should be a no-no within your life. Like, yes, motivation comes comes and goes. And motivation can have us feel like we're ready to run through a brick wall to change our lives. But if you keep thinking that the next thing is going to fix your life, like the next relationship, more money, or just a better routine, you're thinking about the wrong thing. You can't wait for motivation to be there. You just have to go ahead and start. Like, emptiness usually doesn't leave you until you're like living with more intention. And I can give you an example on this. For this channel, I had the idea in my head for probably a year. I sat around and did nothing because I was scared to start. I let the fear kind of take over. Like, what if I say it's cringe? I hate the sound of my voice. What if no one likes it? And it just got to the point where I'm like, we're all gonna die. Hit record. Start, bro. I'm not trying to inspire the millions. I hope one dude every single day hears my message and goes, hey, he's onto something. I like that. I'm gonna change my ways. I'm gonna become a better man. The opportunity cost of waiting that year could have been the difference between an extra couple thousands of subscribers, monetization on my channel, tens to hundreds of thousands more of views. You know what I mean? Not that necessarily that the views matter, but I hope you're trying to understand the example I'm trying to put in front of you here. Like, I waited a year and I've only been doing this for a little over a month and a half now, and I'm very happy with where I'm at. However, imagine what it could be like if I didn't just sit around and wait. And we can apply this into your lives too. So we've gone over a couple of the different reasons as to why emptiness is impacting us in our daily lives. What is this emptiness actually trying to tell us? Like, sometimes it's a warning sign. It's a warning sign internally that we have that we just can't quite put our finger on as to what it's pointing out to. So here's what it's actually saying and what you should be looking out for when you feel empty. It's telling you that the life that you have right now is too small. It's telling you that right now the direction that you're going in is too weak. It's telling you that you have the potential to be more, but this version of yourself that you are right now is being underutilized and underused. Like, we need to stop ignoring the feelingness of being empty and letting it take over our lives and letting the fear and the loneliness and the emptiness win. Like, if you ignore it, it can usually go one of two ways. You become extremely more numb and you get quietly bitter, or if you listen to it, it can become the reason you finally raise your standards for what you want in your life. So here are some of the things that we can do when we feel empty. Here's what to do about it and stop getting that feeling of emptiness so we can start getting some purpose and some passion back in our lives, bro. And first, it's going to be stop asking why you aren't happy and start asking what you're building. Like, we talked about it before. Like, you're stuck because you're comfortable. What are you doing outside of your normal daily routine that's helping you become a better person, pursue better finances, build that business, get the physique at the gym? Like, happiness is often a byproduct of having progress and meaning in your life. So if you start pursuing things that are going to give you meaning and purpose, you will feel less empty, because it's going to be filled with more happiness and real dopamine of actually doing something that makes you succeed. Next, you need to add some sort of real challenge back into your life. I've talked about this before. We should be pursuing hard tasks. Build a new skill. Do hard training, whether it's doing the gym or martial arts. I think martial arts are one of the hardest things that you could do, whether it's kickboxing, Muay Thai, Jiu-Jitsu. These things take years to master. On top of that, you learn self-defense, which is just generally a good thing to have nowadays. But set goals for yourself that are harder to achieve. Like, have responsibility and accountability in your life to know that I'm setting this standard for myself and I'm going to go out and I'm going to pursue it. And if I can't meet this goal, I'm not saying you need to punish yourself, but you just need to give yourself some sort of resistance in your life and stop staying afloat. And on top of the real dopamine, like, cut out the cheap shit, like the cheap dopamine hits. Like, if your nights when you come home from work are only constant stimulation and escape from reality, like, of course your days feel empty, dude. Like, cut out all the bad stuff. Eat healthier. Stop bringing your phone into the bathroom with you, because you know that when you sit down for 10 minutes and you're looking to open up the hub, you're only damaging yourself. And like I said, this is a gaming channel. I play video games. Who cares? But if you know that you're playing way too many games, you need to go ahead and do something about it. Set limits for yourself. Be like, hey, I achieved X, Y, and Z today. I get the ability to unwind and play a couple of games, for 2 hours, 2.5, 3 hours. But stop acting like you need to be on your Xbox or on your PC from the hours of 5 p.m. to 12 a.m. every single day, bro. With that time that you're spending off of the games and off of the toilet gooning, go ahead and reconnect with real people. Like, try to establish friendships with the people in your life that are going to bring something for you. People that establish real connection and have genuine friendships. Like, one good friend is going to do way more than like the 10 distant friends that you haven't spoken to in a while or you don't really have real connections with. And next, choose a direction, even if it's like an imperfect direction. I talked about it already. Waiting for motivation is going to be killer. When you're waiting for the perfect purpose, it's going to keep you stuck. We got to start moving different, boys, because movement will actually create clarity in your life. Start something. Do something. And we can't continue sitting around and expecting our lives to change if we haven't started the thing. And this can tie into you actually like doing something that's going to make you respect yourself again. Because you're going to go out and you're going to set goals. You're going to have things that you're going to want to achieve, and you're going to keep your promises to yourself. You're going to go ahead and you're going to get in shape. You're going to clean up your life, and you're going to put the weight on your shoulders of things that you know that you can carry. Like self-respect is going to come from knowing that you hold yourself accountable to achieve certain things and do the things that you set out to do. Feeling empty can be on us because we just haven't done anything about it yet. I get it. I understand how it feels. I used to be exactly in your shoes. I was lost for a very long time. It wasn't until I actually started doing and not just sitting around anymore where I actually started feeling happy again, bro. It was like feeling empty when life is fine doesn't mean that you're a broken person. It just often means that you're usually like under challenged, disconnected or underconnected with people and just going about your life without a real purpose or passion or mission. We need to continue not settling for a life that just kind of functions, where we're floating in space on this floating rock. Why wouldn't we want to take the opportunity to do whatever it is that we can to make this the best possible life that we can for ourselves? Sitting around and waiting is going to do nothing for you. If you're feeling empty, but everything else in your life is fine, go out and start the thing. Do something. Pursue those tasks. And also, don't be a little bitch on the way. Don't start complaining that the world's against you, because we can continue making things about us, or we can figure out the ways to move in different directions to actually pursue the things that we want, okay? That was a rant in a row. Anyways, I love you boys. If you made it this far, I love you all. Thank you so much for the love recently. Remember to drop a comment and tell us how you started not feeling empty in your life anymore. Share it with the dudes down below that might need to hear it also, man. So boys, stay solid, stay awesome. I love you all. We'll talk with you in the next one. Peace.